Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever just looked around and wondered what makes different societies tick? You know, what are the invisible forces that design the world we live in, from our laws all the way down to our holidays? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and meet these hidden architects, the powerful belief systems that literally build our cultures from the ground up. Let's dive in. Really think about it for a second. Why does life in Texas feel so distinct from life in Tokyo? Or heck, even from other parts of the United States? It's a massive question, right? But the answer isn't just random chance. There's a fundamental logic at work, a kind of master plan that guides how every culture grows and develops. And that's exactly where our architects come in. We're talking about religion and philosophy. And listen, these aren't just collections of personal opinions or things people think about on a Sunday. No way. They are active, incredibly powerful systems that are the real engines shaping everything, from our social norms to our political structures. They are the designers.
Okay, so if religion and philosophy are the architects, what are their plans? In our first section here, we're going to take a look at the actual moral blueprints they use to construct an entire society.
So first, let's get our key terms straight. When we use the phrase belief system here, we're talking about something way bigger than just individual faith. Think of it as the entire operating system for a culture. It's the framework of ideas that sets the rules of the game. It establishes the core moral, ethical, and even the legal codes for millions of people. Now, here's where it gets really fascinating. You can see how this works in two major ways. On one side, these systems are all about defining values. They give us the big why behind our laws and our customs. It's kind of like the soul of a society. But then, on the other side, they use institutional influence to put those values into practice, embedding them deep into the fabric of our world, from our schools to our governments. And this right here perfectly illustrates that defining values part. Just think about the massive influence of Judeo-Christian ethics on American legal systems. The whole concept of an eye, for example, has shaped our ideas of justice for centuries. Or look at how Confucianism's focus on respecting your elders created this really clear social playbook that defined roles in East Asia for generations. These are the deep core principles that tell an entire culture what's right and what's wrong. But ideas are just ideas, right? They need a delivery system to have any real power. And that's where institutions come in. Governments encode these values into law. Education systems make sure the next generation learns them. And of course, the family unit passes them down through traditions and how we raise our kids. This is how the blueprint actually becomes the building we all live in. All right, so let's move away from the abstract blueprint and get into the real, tangible stuff of our day-to-day lives. How do these grand ideas actually show up when you're just, going about your day? Oh, they show up absolutely everywhere. Think about something like Friday Night Football in Texas. It's so much more than just a game, isn't it? It's a major community ritual, and you can trace its roots back to deep-seated Judeo-Christian values of community and taking a day of rest. And then you have global practices like dietary laws that determine what people eat, ceremonial clothing, or the huge annual celebrations that mark the calendars for billions of people. These are the daily habits that make a belief system feel real. And these beliefs don't just shape our daily routines. Sometimes they become the engine for massive, world-altering change. A shift in belief can literally reshape the map. The Protestant Reformation wasn't just some theological squabble, it completely rewired the power structures of Europe. And the philosophical ideas from the Enlightenment, they didn't just stay in books. They were the direct spark that ignited the American Revolution. Okay, now here's a really crucial point. The same blueprint doesn't always produce the same building. So in this next section, we're going to explore how these belief systems adapt and change as they spread across all these different cultures and places. This chart is a great way to visualize that idea. A belief system is never just one single thing. Its expression can be wildly different depending on local history and culture. For instance, the way faith is expressed in Texas has its own unique flavor compared to the rest of the United States, and that's totally different from how it's practiced globally. Geography and history really matter. And of course, cultures are never in a vacuum. As this quote points out, belief systems are dynamic, they're alive. When people trade or migrate or, yes, even conquer, they bring their ideas with them. And this exchange leads to these fascinating new hybrid cultures, creating something totally new that borrows from a bunch of different traditions. So why is it so important to look at the world this way, through this lens of architects and blueprints? Let's bring it all together and talk about the practical value of this whole perspective. Ultimately, understanding this framework gives you a powerful new toolkit for seeing the world. Seriously, instead of just knowing what happened in history, you can start to understand the why. You can look at a different culture not as something strange, but as a different group's answer to that same human search for meaning. And that fosters real empathy. And suddenly, history, literature, art, they stop being these separate school subjects and start connecting into one big, cohesive story about who we are. And that leaves us with one final thought. Take a look around your own community, your own traditions, even your own daily habits. What are the invisible blueprints shaping your world? Understanding them is really the first step to truly understanding ourselves. Thanks for joining me.